Hello IFMSA, my name is Arthur. I'm the Liaison Officer for Public Health Issues. We are here in the UNFCCC negotiations on climate change. We're here since the last week when we had a delegation of 3 people. It was me, Michaela from IFMSA Sweden, and Eleanor from Yassen UK. And for the second week we had Diogo and Yassen. In the last week in the negotiations of the text, the parties were moving really slow on this process. There was a lot of frustration on the discussions, and we're expecting for this week a lot of changes. Right now there are already changes some of the facilitation methods, and we're really optimistic by the end of this meeting we're gonna have a very strong document for Paris. And the IFMSA is now working to include health in the text, and we're expecting a lot of things from the next meetings.
Okay, now to just give you a little context and a little insight of what these discussions are, the UNFCCC, the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, 2015 is a really important year, as you know. Not only the Sustainable Development Agenda is being discussed, but also a new agreement that's going to hopefully be adopted in 2015 in December, at the end of this year, where the countries are supposed to agree on a very strong, very ambitious agreement to keep the temperatures rising for below the 2 degrees Celsius. And yes, hopefully this is going to be a really great year, not only for this climate change community, but it's also for the health community, as this is said to be also a big public health agreement. And this is exactly what IFMSA has been doing here, to make sure the health profile is present and is at a high level also in the discussions, because we really think that health can add value to the discussions, and most importantly can help prevent or save future generations that we are here to represent.
And I'm going to give you more briefing on the technical aspects of the discussion. Like it was introduced, these are discussions that are very important this year, but they haven't started this year. Obviously, it's a long-term process that's led to now. If we go back to last year's COP, we had a document, the Lima Call for Action, that was drafted. It was a very short document describing what we wanted this 2015 agreement to look like. That was then sent onwards to the sessions that we call the ADP sessions, that are part of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. And those sessions are meant to create the agreement that we'll adopt in next December at the next COP meeting. So in Geneva, all the parties came together and they started throwing out their ideas, all the ideas that they had for what they wanted in the text. And they created this huge document that was 90 pages long, and that had everything and anything in it. And the idea was for us to come here and kind of start negotiating that and start making it shorter. Unfortunately, like Arthur said, it was quite a slow process initially. The parties in the first week here, they managed to cut down 5 pages out of the 95. And at that rate, we would never, we're never going to make it to something usable by the end of the year. So they've changed the methodology a bit, and that's quite interesting. The second week now, they've been having smaller group meetings discussing the different sections, and rather than trying to cut down things right now, they're trying to reorganize things and trying to see where there's different themes that overlap and interact with each other, so that they can then give that input out of those discussions that they have, and to the chairs of the ADP sessions. And they've given a lot of faith to the chairs, because they're asking the chairs to take that document and cut it down a lot, something that rarely happens because the member states want to keep control of the negotiations. But now, hopefully, very soon after the end of the meeting, we're going to have this cut down document, and basically IFMSA is going to stay involved in the process at the next meetings and all the way until December and beyond, to try to keep the health being highly profiled in these discussions, because it's essential, and health can be a very strong rallying point for agreement in any negotiations, including the tough climate change negotiations that we're at now.
Okay guys, Unfortunately, our work doesn't mean anything if you're not helping us in your local communities and your animals. So let's fight together for climate change.